Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as I am excited to announce the return of one of my favorite bots. It is Ketroc, the bot, not the actual player slash streamer. And taking them on is going to be Eris, the top Zerg bot. So what a welcome back, as this is a bot author recommended replay, which makes this even more exciting to watch, because I was probably going to cast Ketroc anyway, and it just so happens someone sent in a replay, so it's perfect. It's fate. Here we are on Ephemeron, the AI edition. Ketroc recently reactivated his bot, it seems, on the ladder. Something that I'm very excited for, as he also was posting about some new upgraded battlecruiser targeting that he programmed. So we'll get to see if that's the case in this match, as I know battlecruisers are kind of a mixed bag when it comes to bot matches. For example, Canonana just dumpsters them, so I might have to cast Ketroc versus Canonana after this. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. I'm incredibly excited to cast this one. I've got a bit of a backlog as far as videos on the channel goes, which is almost a bit unfortunate, because, like, I cast a match and then I'm like, oh man, I want to see what everyone says about this match. Then it's like, oh, I guess I'll see that in a month or something. So sometimes I do bump videos to the front of the queue when they're really, really good ones. Anyway, yeah, click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches, as that helps out with the YouTube bot. And then if you do want to support these daily casts, it goes a long way if you want to become a YouTube member. There's various perks you can get down below. Look at those drones just showing up and mining perfectly. Yeah. This should be an interesting match. Ketroc going for a command center on the low ground. Very, very quick natural command center, as it just goes for a racks, a factory, and a bunker on the low ground. But there's a big SCV transfer already, so Ketroc wants to split up the mining of his bot, which I guess makes sense, as it might mean there'll be more SCVs near the natural base to repair the bunker if that needs to happen. It might also mean that he doesn't have to deal with the pathing of, say, rallying SCVs from the main to the natural, although he is actually doing that. So that is interesting. I don't know if it's more efficient mining or what, but there's a reason why a bot author does everything. We've got 2 Marines moving across the map for Ketroc's bot, as it does go hunting for overlords. There is 2 in the middle of the map, although he does seem to have these points marked out in order to find and kill one of the overlords of Eris. So there's some very effective programming there. And yeah, I gotta say, I just really missed casting Ketroc's bot. There was a big Ketroc's bot-sized hole in the scene, as it was one of the better Terran bots, if not the best Terran bot. So we're gonna see how it's gonna do against Eris now that it's getting some love. Eris is still the top bot. It receives regular patches, so maybe Ketroc's bot will come out on top. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see some back and forth patching between these bot authors. Fusion Core is on the way, so we can potentially see battlecruisers being produced soon. And for those of you wondering why Ketroc's bot was off the ladder for a while, I believe it was because there was an update to Python, which actually bricked bots and kind of tanked Python bots, making them not initialize on the ladder, so a lot of them lost ladder rankings. And that's why we also lost Zoe and Evil Zoe, as the bot author, I don't believe, has updated them to put them back on, which is quite unfortunate. But we are glad to have Ketroc's bot back. Anyway, as now we do have that first battlecruiser being produced, staying true to its word, BC macro, no third base for the Terran, just going into these incredibly quick double battlecruisers, and this may be difficult for Eris to defend against. It's got no indication that this is coming, so unless the bot authors of Eris have programmed something to be like, hey, Ketroc's bot likes to build battlecruisers, you better build lots of spores early on, Eris could just be in trouble. So we'll have to wait and see as 2 BCs are going to be built. There's the third command center getting squeezed on out. Bots are incredible when it comes to being able to mine so quickly. I don't think you'd be able to do double BCs into a third CC this quickly as a human. And then we do have an infestation pit on the way for Eris. Actually, a Nidus network being produced, so potentially a bit of aggression coming out of the Zerg. But that may be headed off by Ketroc. We've got double CCs building for the Terran bot. And then there's going to be double CCs and double BCs. So how's that for a rhyme? Will these battlecruisers just yeet themselves right across the map or slowly fly? That remains to be seen. Ketroc's bot producing more battlecruisers, although production does pause for a moment on one of these, and it's actually maxed out on supplies, so got to wait for a depot to finish up, but I'm sure we will see another battlecruiser get made at some point. Now, the first battlecruiser and second battlecruiser are just flying across the map, going to be revealed to a Ling, so Eris does have confirmation that it's up against battlecruisers. It's got that Nidus network done, so it can start to toss out these swarm host Locust that it's going to be going for. Eris is such a bot with style, even though that it is the top bot, which you'd expect it to sort of be like bland, but no, that's not the case. It does have these cool swarm host strategies programmed. Now, spore crawlers are building for the Zerg, but they are a little bit late, and so BCs do roll on up towards the third base. Double Yamato cannon means double dead queen, as Ketroc now says enemy Zerg has drone burrowed, as Eris did just burrow its drones to keep them safe from the battlecruisers. I believe that's 4 dead queens, 6 dead queens, pardon me, to the initial battlecruisers. That is quite painful for Eris. 7 dead queens. More swarm hosts are being produced. Drones are being massacred, though. Swarm host seems to miss the mark as it does toss out Locust. Unfortunately, Locusts are not anti-air units. Maybe that's what Blizzard needs to do. Make Locust also attack air units. That would actually be kind of cool, I'm not going to lie. Eris does burrow its swarm host, starting to toss out these Locusts at the main base of Ketroc, so that engineering bay does go down, so no planetaries. There's going to be no third base on this location. Ketroc expands to the south. It's trying to build CCs all over the place. Man, oh man, this game is already heating up. I'm having a hard time casting it, as we do have this battlecruiser just doing so much work, killing off drones that for some reason decided to stop burrowing to save their lives. They initially burrowed, and it looks like they are trying to burrow upon taking damage, but the threshold isn't high enough when a battlecruiser is shooting at the drones. So that is why that's the case. We have had 31 drones died, 9 dead queens, although these Locusts are causing big problems in Ketroc's base. That looks like the armory may burn down. It's going to be close. 1 HP as a hero SCV keeps that alive, although there's going to be more Locusts coming on out, as there is a high number of swarm hosts. 18 swarm hosts just constantly able to toss out these Locusts. Spore crawlers are going down. They don't stand a chance against the BCs. There's currently 4 of them out, flying around, killing overlords, harassing. The Spire for Eris is just about done, so it may be able to make some corruptors to help itself, but the drones not burrowing and no spore crawlers being present at this third base is really hurting. One of the BCs does get knocked down the teleport threshold, though, which means it goes home. Another battlecruiser does find the Nidus worm. That could help it shut this down, but man, oh man, swarm hosts burrowed by Eris are something that definitely requires a specific response. The swarm hosts do unburrow, though, in the presence of a Raven, so Ketroc's bot, just trying to clean out the third base, does have a Raven, actually, coincidentally, in perfect positioning to help on out. Let me guess, that Raven reveals the swarm host, and they go, yeah, we cannot burrow anymore. Then it goes out of range. So there is a bit of a mess as these Locusts are getting tossed out all over the place. That armory is gone. Another attempt at an armory being shut down. Ketroc's bot is taking harassment. It's got many, many bases all over the place, though. It's playing like a Zerg, expanding all over the map. Meanwhile, Eris locked down on 4 bases. We've got a Neural Parasite just halting a BC's presence for a moment. Corruptors not standing a chance, though. And this has got to be one of the most difficult games I've ever had to cast. As man, oh man, there's just swarm host tossing out Locust still, battlecruisers flying across the map. Eris is trying to get up a 4th base, but the Zerg is only on 48 drones because, well, it lost 54 of them, most of them dead at its 3rd base. I'm surprised the place isn't littered with corpses. We do have Locust attacking this planetary now, so the swarm host control of Eris is very cool in that they're all over the place. They're not just targeted to one location. There's some hitting the main, some hitting the natural, some trying to hit these expansions. And look at this, Eris sending them out in squads, but the planetaries of Ketroc seem to be quite good at managing that. And the Terran bot does still have a much superior economy to the Zerg. So many more bases, so much more economic potential and redundancy. Looks like that fourth of Eris was shut down once again. We are having infestors starting to do some work, but I mean, there is Battlecruisers that can Yamato cannon. We've had 5 dead Corruptors, not a single dead Battlecruiser this game. There has been 47 dead SCVs for Ketroc though, as this swarm host harassment continues on and on and on. And this command center could be in a little trouble. Some SCVs dying, the Locust targeting down the armories, interestingly enough, but it's not that much damage getting done. We see more Locusts coming into this planetary. Ketroc just repairs it, and so the swarm hosts are not getting the most effective harassment done. Eris is just having to try and hold on 3 bases. There's a Spore Crawler, a Queen, Corruptors trying to hold on. Yamato cannon adds -1 to that Corruptor count. The BCs are flying on in. Looks like one of those Battlecruisers does get injured, forced to teleport on out. Eris is kind of stabilizing on 3 bases, but it's still a horrible position. We do have these swarm hosts running around. Looks like the Ravens of Ketroc are actually doing a good job revealing some of these swarm hosts. More Locusts coming on in, just continuously canceling buildings inside the main base, but the actual damage getting done isn't that big. A human may have fallen apart under all this pressure, but not a bot. Ketroc's bot just will rebuild that refinery as many times as it takes, and quite a few of these swarm hosts have been cleaned up. 7 dead. There is 11 still out on the map, but look at this. 2 Locusts are not doing much to a planetary fortress that does have building armor researched, and so Eris really is not getting that much damage done to Ketroc, but great redundancy from the Zergbot trying to take that 4th base once again. I mean, these swarm hosts are going to be in trouble this time, but look at that. They actually do cancel a command center of Ketroc, canceling some more structures. We'll see if the BCs actually do eventually figure it out and kill off these swarm hosts or not. These 2 are just pretty much worthless as they just keep feeding in Locust into the planetary, not actually going for the SCVs, which is a bit unfortunate. There's 2 here still. Ketroc's bot has lost 61 SCVs, but I mean, of course, it's got so many bases that it can just keep rebuilding them. 91 SCVs, pardon me, in total. Eris, though, is holding on up to 74 workers. It's got more Spore Crawlers, more Corruptors, more Infestors, and the Zergbot does seem to be taking a 5th base. It looks like there is a drone moving on out to do that, which is good to see. Locust still being tossed out, attacking a starport that would be building at Ketroc's, I suppose, maybe would have been a 4th base. I don't know. This game is ridiculous. Ketroc is now up to 7 Battlecruisers, adding 5 at a time, 2-3 upgrades on the way, which is massive for them, as Eris is just getting +1 attack on those Corruptors. There's muscular augments on the way. I mean, yeah, 1-1 on the way, but Ketroc's got a nice lead on upgrades, a nice lead on bases. A drone was attempting to expand here, as a single Ling is potentially going to cancel that CC, which would be quite important because Ketroc does already have more than its share of bases on the map, if you kind of count the one that it will probably eventually take. Battlecruiser flying over some of these swarm hosts. It is just not an easy thing to counter swarm host all over the map, because when you think of like the burrowed Ling problem that we see all the time in bot matches, Lings burrowing at bases, you just need to add a check basically to say, hey, clean out a Ling if you can't build an expansion on that base. And that's relatively straightforward. Not easy to do, but still very straightforward. Swarm host, on the other hand, they can be burrowed anywhere. So unless you pair, say, a Raven with your units, you're going to be in trouble. The swarm hosts do unburrow due to the presence of that Raven, but then Ketroc's bot not quite putting it together that they're a threat. So there may need to be some anti-swarm host programming done. We have Ketroc's bot still trying to take this command center on Eris' side of the map. Locusts are still being tossed on out. They are now actually attacking a tech lab, which is getting some value. There is 11 swarm hosts out still, as this tech lab just keeps being attacked. For the love of gosh, bot authors, please add a cooldown on your tech lab and reactors building, as that is such a common thing that happens. We do have a nice neural parasite, and Corruptor's actually killing off one of the Battlecruisers, but then there's many Yamato cannons getting dumped on down. 17 Corruptors have died. I fear I may have just missed some big Yamato cannons off all those BCs. Yeah, quite a few of them are off cooldown. I'll try and catch that next time, as that is one of the highlights of Ketroc's bot. So these Locusts are still doing a good job shutting down the third base. Ketroc continuously tries to expand there. We've now got Infestors, Corruptors, and Swarm Hosts trying to clear out the bottom left. We'll see if Eris is successful with that or not. In come Battlecruisers, though, dumping more Yamato cannons into these Corruptors as they are skirmishing with the BCs. Corruptors are actually phenomenal against Battlecruisers. Yamato cannon is the only thing that evens the scales. Neural Parasite does catch one of the BCs. There's so many Corruptors out for Eris. They're going to catch and kill another Battlecruiser. Another one goes down thanks to a Neural Parasite, so Ketroc's bot definitely needs to pool up these BCs a little bit more, maybe retreat on out of there, as they are falling off hard now that Eris has hit critical mass with these Corruptors. I cast a game. I'll actually shout out to the new channel, not intentionally, but I cast a game where a laser went for like 300 Corruptors. Maybe not 300, but like 30. Only Corruptors in a 2v2 match. And that was very cool to see, and Eris is really giving those vibes. It's doing such a good job killing off these BCs. They're barely getting on out of there. At best, it seems Ketroc at this point is now going to maybe get a Corruptor per BC just due to the Yamato cannon. These Swarm Hosts are still causing problems. Eris is actually taking this base. It's like, all right, there's one free base for me to take. I'm going to do it. So we'll see if Ketroc is able to do anything about that. BCs that are lucky enough to escape are teleporting on home. The Terran bot does still have more bases than its opponent. 5 bases presently to 7. So Ketroc does have more money at its disposal, not counting this base. Eris is spreading creep, getting up the hatchery. We'll see if it can actually mine from that. A planetary is doing a good job holding on against roaches and Hydras. In comes another Battlecruiser. Yamato cannon got off, but then it got Neural Parasited and killed, unsurprisingly. Locust in the main base still causing problems. Looks like this base may be identified by Ketroc. It has been, so BCs may go and attack there, although the attack pathing is not an easy thing to program, so the BCs do seem to be just focused on fighting the main army. It's 13 BCs against 23 Corruptors. That's not a bad ratio for the BCs, but Infestors definitely changed the math on that. And let's see, nothing is actually looking to clear out this base yet, so Eris is starting to mine from this location that has been secured thanks to these Swarm Hosts that are never getting cleaned out, unless a BC seemingly accidentally is going to path over there with a Raven. Eris is trying to hit that location in the bottom left. Once again, Battlecruisers and Ravens still just flying around. And yeah, let's see. That planetary is doing a good job holding the line, getting kills. Ketroc still has an incredibly strong economy. It's had these planetaries saturated for so darn long. Let's see, there is still armories being harassed. How many buildings have died for Ketroc? Just 1 armory, 3 e-bays, 4 starports, 4 supply depots, 4 tech labs. As Eris is once again trying to attack on in. Battlecruisers not actually engaging right now. They seem to just be flying around the map, killing some overlords, supply blocking Eris. The planetary is holding on, as Ketroc's bot does keep losing SCVs as Eris does target them down. There's quite a few injured ones. Corruptor is chasing that Raven away, but Ketroc does need to make sure there's plenty of SCVs at this base. The roaches are not really targeting down any of the workers right now, which is generally how you bring down a planetary, as a queen, a couple Hydras, and a roach try their luck. As we do see Battlecruisers coming on in, dropping mass Yamato cannons on the Corruptors, and that was actually quite a nice trade for Ketroc, as man, oh man, that was a lot of dead Corruptors. Eris being knocked down to a measly 10. Now there is still Infestors on the ground. We'll see if good spells can be utilized, and there's a few. Catching a couple of these BC is going to really improve the trade for Eris, and there is still potential for more Neural Parasites. There's another one. Seems Eris does prioritize the injured BCs already to just really secure up that kill. More Yamato cannons going down. The BCs are not actually backing out just yet. However, as more Corruptors are being produced, they are going to be forced to retreat. So the initial round of Yamato cannons is good, but then Eris does get some great efficiency. Upgrades are also improving for the Zerg, getting up armor for those Corruptors, having 2-1 right now. Or, yeah, 2-1 on those. 6 BCs are being made at a time for Ketroc. The Terran bot has got a much superior bank compared to its opponent. Trade-wise, it's 26,000 resources to 30,000 lost, and that does change with every battlecruiser that dies. A poor battlecruiser popping out on the wrong side of town does get off a Yamato cannon, I believe, but then it dies immediately, as these corruptors for Eris are looking to push on in. Ketroc is still mining happily, or Eris, pardon me, is still mining happily from this base, still harassing with these locusts, getting some really great efficiency out of the swarm host. More Yamato cannons going down as BCs continuously try their luck. That one just barely teleports on out of there. A second one barely teleports on out of there. Anti-armor missile hits some of the corruptors as these BCs take an okay trade, as there's no infestors on the ground present to help with that. They're just busy attacking the bottom left, which Eris is straight up just engaging the planetary, not targeting down the SCVs like some bots do. And I think that's quite unfortunate, as this PF is just getting a tremendous amount of kills, 83 kills. And so there's efficiency on both sides, as locusts get efficiency, but then this planetary gets efficiency as this roach continuously just burrows and unburrows. We've got more corruptors being made for Eris. The battlecruiser count for Ketroc is 15 right now. This is the ultimate battlecruiser versus corruptor game. Ketroc is trying to repair these BCs as quickly as it can, as more planetaries going on up. I do love the double planetary from Ketroc on that location. It's like these locusts are doing work. It's a shame that Ketroc is not attacking that spot, as it would be easy pickings, but they're bots. They're doing what bots do. I'm not sure what the desired location for Ketroc to attack right now is, but it is just grouping up all its BCs, seemingly waiting, which is very important. Instead of just saying, hey, I've got one BC at full HP, send it in, it's actually pooling them, which is very good behavior. All these battlecruisers are going to be off Yamato cannon. There's 17 out right now, which is a ridiculous amount. Guys, there's only 20 corruptors out. If all those BCs land Yamato cannons, it is goodnight Zerg fleet for the most. Fleet, Armada, Swarm, I guess. Swarm applies to air units, I think. And yeah, let's see. The Locust still causing problems for Ketroc bot. Definitely helping Eris with the efficiency a little bit by killing off 7 eBays. Maybe another rack's gonna burn down. SCVs do come to its aid, though. We do have Eris trying to break this planetary in the bottom left. Some Lings are targeting down the SCVs, which is very, very big, as it means this planetary is not going to be repaired anymore. There's only 2 SCVs, but that is not enough. And so Eris is able to break that base, which is a darn big deal, as that is going to cut into Ketroc's money. But there's the mass Yamato cannons going down, as that is just disgusting how many Yamatos got dropped there. I think that was pretty much all of them. Eris just lost so many corruptors. The BCs can very well engage the few corruptors that remain, and that is exactly what Terrans want to have happen when they play mass BCs. That is how you get efficiency. You don't get efficiency by actually fighting the corruptors. Like, it's just Yamato cannon, retreat, repeat, basically. And that really, really eats into the efficiency of Eris. 72 dead corruptors versus 24 BCs. I mean, Eris is getting its licks in. These Locusts, of course, as always, doing their thing, increasing in kills. Ketroc does just, it's just continuously rebuilding these buildings. It's like the eBay tax. That could be a problem long term in this match. A battlecruiser gonna try and save the day. Eris securing this base in the bottom left is going to help it out, though. Sorry, I sounded like RFK for a second there. And yeah, let's see. SCVs being pulled against Anitis, as Eris seemingly is trying to get more Swarm Host shenanigans off. The Swarm Host actually unsieged for a second. Ketroc's bot not cleaning out that base is quite problematic, though. I'm not sure what it's focused on at the minute, just fighting the army of Eris, it seems. And Eris is going into mass Lings, as it may not have the gas that it needs, only 15 corruptors out. But these Swarm Hosts do continue to get more efficiency. It has secured up that extra base, which is good for it. Although Ketroc's bot is dropping mules to steal money. That is a late game design boss, but look at this. Bot, pardon me, but look at this. Eris is breaking the location in the upper right. These Lings killing the SCVs, reducing the repair. There's double planetaries At this location, no SCVs are actually repairing this planetary yet, but it is going to kill off a decent number of Lings and Hydras before it goes down. We'll see whether Ketroc can hold on to it. Here goes in the Terran bot, though, ready for mass Yamato cannon. The Infester's going to get some neural parasites, but not before most of the Yamatos go down, and that is disgusting. As, oh my gosh, like all the Corruptors just get deleted from existence. The Raven reveals the Infestors, and Eris loses virtually everything. Now, while this is going on, the Locusts are still getting some efficiency, killing off refineries, killing off eBays, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough to overcome what was, I think, 11 dead Infestors, or pardon me, 5 dead Infestors, 11 dead Corruptors. The Corruptors are still skirmishing. Spore Crawlers are on the front lines for Eris as it tries to defend this base. The base stays alive for now, as the Corruptors are doing their beautiful fan out. These BCs, they are on cooldown for their Yamato cannon, but that does mean they can just retreat and get repaired. This one could be in trouble. Teleport does get it on out of there, but this is the kind of trade Eris wants. It's eating into the money of Ketroc's spot, even though it's just repair money. The Raven goes down, which is a nice pickoff. That can't teleport away. The Battlecruisers are just retreating to the main base, though. But look at this, a bunch of depots getting thrown down for Ketroc's spot as it realized it got supply blocked, but that's actually not going to improve for long, I don't think, as there should be a wave of Locusts coming to gobble those up relatively soon. Eris holds on to this base. It's securing the base in the upper right. There's virtually no resources left here, so it's not really worth it. This base down here is worth it for Eris, as we'll see if it can secure that up. More Yamato cannons going down on the Corruptors of Eris, as more and more of these just get deleted. We have got the Swarm Hosts doing their thing, killing off those supply depots. We'll see if Ketroc gets supply blocked once more, and it does, so it immediately panics and throws up a bunch more depots. Now, the Zerg bot is holding on, but Eris is really short on gas, really short on money in general, as the map is actually mining out quite quickly, probably due to the mule spam, the early expansions of Ketroc. Eris has yet to take any mining at this location, though, so I really hope there's no idle drones, and there isn't. Eris still has this base, which is actually quite fresh, so more money to come in for the Zerg, which is quite important. Corruptors are trading out against the BCs, going to eat into the bank of Ketroc on that repair. Repair does cost money for those of you wondering about that. So it's not free to repair the BCs. It is cost efficient, though, as these Corruptors are trading out pretty darn well. The micro of Eris is very beautiful as it kites back. It may even get one of those BCs there, and it does. I'm not sure why that guy got so far forward. Another one could be in trouble. However, it does retreat. It's still, though, it's only 10 Corruptors against 19 Battlecruisers. We do have the Swarm Hosts still doing their thing. Ketroc's spot dropping mass mules on this base just to take whatever money it can. Of course, that's not gas, though. Eris is making a few more Corruptors. The mining is not that good for the Blue Zerg bot. It has seemingly ceased building drones as well, which is interesting. SCVs are getting on top of a lot of the Lings of Ketroc's bot. That could definitely hurt the Terran as it has to replace those. Resources lost, 44,000 to 58,000 Yamato cannons, drastically improving that. We've got a Spore Crawler that needs to burrow, but it's a little unsure of what to do. Lings are running all over the place. Swarm Hosts still going to be tossing out their Locust waves. Lings are getting inside the main base of Ketroc. I love to see that Eris is making use of mass Lings when it can't afford to make more Corruptors or that kind of thing. Many bots, when they have resource imbalances, do not adjust their compositions, but Eris is still making a good number of Lings. At the same time, though, the problem is Ketroc's bot is still making a good number of Battlecruisers, 7 at a time. It's got quite a bit of money to burn still, although the mining is pretty much all gone for the Terran bot. This base in the bottom left is still up for grabs as well for Eris. This location too. Who knows about this location? What will happen to it? I do not know. There is Ravens flying around. That is revealing the Swarm Hosts. Still, the 7 Swarm Hosts remain. An auto turret gets tossed down to try and clean out the base, so Ketroc can potentially expand there. The Lings are running around doing work. And let's see, Eris down on gas, not really mining much gas at all. The Locusts are doing their thing, though, canceling supply depots, canceling armories. Ketroc's bot has lost so much money to these Swarm Hosts. 23 kills, 27 kills, 17, 21. If it wasn't for these Swarm Hosts, Ketroc would have 100% won this game, I think. But if the Swarm Host can just keep doing that forever, who knows? Eris fires up 120 Lings, spending its ridiculous mineral bank, just suiciding those into the mass battle cruisers. The swarm hosts are still just hanging on out. Ketroc continues to toss down auto turrets from this Raven. That prevents the swarm hosts from burrowing for Eris because they want to be able to get out, but they're still throwing down their locust waves. We have got Eris now going to be taking that gas, which could be good for it, although I'm not sure how many resources it would need in order to kill the 28 battle cruisers of Ketroc. Ketroc has just been like, yeah, whatever, my BCs, they're just like, who needs SCVs when you got BCs, you know? As that has got to be the biggest blob of battle cruisers I've ever seen. That's almost 200 supply of BCs. That is so ridiculous. I don't even know what to say. The lings that just run underneath them are deleted instantly. They are just burned to a crisp. And now the lings are doing work for Eris. They are cleaning out lots of the structures. So are the swarm hosts. With all the SCVs dying, that will mean that Ketroc won't be able to replace these structures as easily. That it keeps on losing, by the way. Another armory about to die. That costs gas. That costs money. Ketroc will eventually run out of money. But then if Eris can't deal with these battle cruisers, who knows what's going to happen. I think this game is going to come down to whether Ketroc's bot attacks. It's trying to chase down these lings for Eris. The lings, oh, they make the bad decision of running underneath that, and the corruptors make the bad decision of engaging. There's so many Yamato cannons. The corruptors are just gone, deleted from existence, no longer with us. Lings, though, for Eris are actually doing incredible work. The programming here to utilize the mass lings to get damage done is so cool. Ketroc's bot is supply blocked into oblivion. It cannot make any more SCVs as it's supply blocked. And so the structures may not be getting rebuilt for the Terran. So who knows? As I mean, eventually Ketroc's bot could be eliminated in this ridiculous match as the swarm hosts just do work, lings do work. I'm not sure Eris is going to get this base up again, but it's trying. It's still mining a little bit. A decent amount, actually, still. More than Ketroc, that's for sure, which has completely run out of bases thanks to these swarm hosts. But oh no, one of the MVP swarm hosts does go down. That's actually quite problematic for Eris. Just by chance, the BCs, they shot that down. More locusts are coming into the main base. And we'll see whether that's going to send Ketroc's bot back. They are going to potentially kill off an orbital. So the main is really, really being worked on. And this is the point in the game as a bot author, which you have to program logic to be like, right, what's the best thing to do here? And I do not envy them, as it is not an easy thing to do. Eris trying to take this hatchery, it's not going to happen. The swarm host could be in trouble as there is ravens. And they are just running back and forth, but the BCs are focused on pushing on out. Lings are inside the main base, going to be killing off more depots, more structures. It's probably just going to be Ketroc left with the planetaries at some point soon. And unless it loses the BCs, it can't make any more structures, so it can't make any more depots, so it can't make any more units. Maybe Eris can get a bit of a technical win here. We'll have to wait and see. The Zerg bot is going to run out of money, so at some point it would all be on the Locust, but these Lings are doing nice work for now. Two Corruptors make the horrible life decision of getting near those battle cruisers. Like, how would you even kill off this many BCs? Eris would need 200 supply of Corruptors, I think, and there's not even that much money left on the map. So I think the BCs shall be unopposed in this game. We'll see if Eris can get a technical win. The Zergbot does decide to expand here, which is a terrible decision, but it may have queued up that hatchery before confirming there was no resources left. I don't know. Maybe the bot authors don't even have a check for that. Eris is trying to make 2 more Corruptors. Like, yeah, that'll show them. That'll do it. There's only 30 Yamato cannons at the disposal of Ketroc right now. The Terran bot has completely had its main base gutted. These swarm hosts, though, are still just hanging out here, and they're not repositioning, so we're going to have to keep eyes on that to see whether that will eventually happen or not. Battle cruisers are moving around, potentially hunting down some of these Lings. Eris continues to try to expand, so not playing with the most efficiency as it spams down a hatchery twice, as lots of Lings are getting killed off. Eris has got very, very little money coming in at this point. I mean, infestors would be good, potentially, if they could get a neural parasite or something like that, but there is ravens grouping up with the battle cruisers. Oh no, some of these swarm hosts taking damage. One of them goes down, and so that is hope for Eris in this game dropping, and maybe we'll have a draw. Who knows? Random queen pops on out. I'm not sure what her mission is going to be. As one of the few anti-air units left in this game. A poor Hydra regrets its life decisions. Eris has cleaned out the main base. The Lings seem unsure of what to do at this point. There's some drones also burrowed for Eris, just hanging out here. And yeah, the Locusts do not seem to be adjusted to find new targets if there is no target. Probably because it's a very rare situation for the bot author to be in. So who knows? Ketroc's BCs haven't really been fanning out. Maybe there's a late game check to like teleport all around the map and just start deleting bases when it's near the end. But until then, I do not know. Hydra's coming on in, getting deleted as Eris spends the last of its money trying to get a bit of damage done to the BCs, but it's not going to happen. The Zerg is trying to expand here. You got to give it to Eris. But the problem is the BCs are roaming, and that drone may be about to have a hard time. Looks like some Lings were engaging that planetary there, but the Swarm host are still burrowed, not changing up their plan, which means Eris will just have the Lings to try and deal with this, but that's not going to get it done. So I think we may be heading towards a bit of a draw in this match. I am going to fast forward a little bit, as someone did recommend towards the end of the replay to fast forward. Big thanks to whoever sent in this replay, by the way. It is very appreciated. Battlecruisers moving back and forth, doing a bit of a dance, as they're generally just homed to this location until seemingly maybe an overseer or something drags them away. Eris not producing anything, not really mining anything. I did just see some money get spent on Hydras. The Zerg has got 22 drones, still mining a little bit from this location, but that money is going to be gone. Overlord, not sure what it's doing. Awakening the Beast, apparently, is the answer. Ketroc moves on out. Looks like some Hydras do kill off a refinery, but then they go to fight the planetary and get deleted. And so that is more money gone from the game that will probably never be recouped. Eris isn't long-distance mining. It doesn't have the money to build a hatchery here. Who knows? Maybe it will eventually. Ketroc, yeah, really just grouping up with the Battlecruisers, though. Locust getting tossed on out. It's unfortunate the Swarm host aren't looking for new targets, but even the best bots like Eris are programmed to clear out the main. That makes the most sense. It's important to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that this is like a 1% of 1% of matches. The BCs are just grouped up into a mega circle right now, but that means Eris is actually mining these minerals long distance, throws down a hatchery. I'm not sure if those BCs will be awoken, but they really are just in their final form right now. For Ketroc's bot, 55,000 APM on these Battlecruisers, just grouping them on up. It really is something, that's for sure. Eris, though, does get this hatchery up, so it's going to have, I don't know, a couple thousand minerals at its disposal. I'm not sure what it's going to make to potentially have success, but we'll see. It's making a queen. Making a spore, that's probably a good idea. Those kill Battlecruisers. And it's just, we'll see if either of these bots are programmed to try and end a match to adjust their targeting. Queen gets deleted instantly. Eris is like, right, okay, now I need a new queen, I guess. Hydras are being built by Eris, spending the last of its precious money. No Vipers, no Infestors, the sort of things that could potentially deal with this, but as long as there's Ravens, Infestors wouldn't work. Eris is just spamming out a single queen. Now it looks like the Battlecruisers do decide to go out, so Ketroc may have had a bit of a timer to search for bases, although then it does just clear out that base. And Eris is building up more Hydras. We'll see whether it can get up enough to maybe kill off some units. The answer to that is probably not, although the BCs do leave those Hydras alone. So the leashing of Ketroc may be a little strong on these Battlecruisers. They do move forward, kill off all those units, gonna clear out the base. One of the Swarm hosts does go down, and Eris loses the little mining that it had. the Battlecruisers are flying around. We are eventually going to hit a draw between these two bots if neither of them gets the win. I mean, Ketroc obviously has the firepower. Eris has the little bit of mining. It almost sets this planetary ablaze. But then the problem is there's still 2 more planetaries. And the Locusts are never going to reposition, it would seem. Drones are running away, but they are not going to make it far. As we head back into the fast forwarding. Ketroc's bot still just moving around. Eris with 27 lings hanging out in the main, 10 drones, 5 swarm hosts, a dropper lord, and 2 queens. What a ridiculous draw. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching up until this point and you enjoy these crazy, ridiculously long botcasts, click that like button if you haven't already. If we can hit 50 likes on this video, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots, or let me know if you watched to the end. That kind of thing. And then if you do want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. It goes a long way. As let's see, Locust moving on in towards the main again. And just repeating the cycle of life where they pop up from the ground and then die and then are eventually reborn. Eris is no longer long-distance mining as all its drones seem to be occupied and not alive. The game will end in 2 minutes, so we could potentially have a draw. Yeah, the draw conditions have been met. And so unless something dies, which this Overseer is really trying to do, Ketroc's bot still just grouping up into the orb, the sphere of Battlecruisers. 1 minute remains. The BCs are moving out, but then they change their mind. They get a bit of stage fright. They go, no, I can't. I'm afraid to leave the house. And yeah, we are 30 seconds away just about from the end of this match. I did not expect it to end like this crazy game. Ketroc saying real time over 1 hour. Yes, it is. But we are 15 seconds away from a draw. And 10, 9, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The game will end. The game is a tie between Ketroc and Eris. The Terran bot, I think, the moral victor with the most units. But a tie is a tie when it comes to programming a bot. And it just goes to show that there are situations that even the best bots, the best late game bots, haven't been programmed to solve. I think if you're a bot author, but then again, this is just big caster bias because I tend to cast the longer and more exciting games like this, it would be worth it to maybe have like a check before, like a minute before a draw. You may as well go into your hunt the enemy mode to try and end games, to hunt floating buildings, that kind of thing. But yeah, not going to fault either of these bots. I'll definitely cast a rematch between them. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.